She leaned in. Not dramatically, not obviously, just a slight shift toward you that most men would completely miss. And in that micro movement, she communicated something her words never would. Permission. Not just physical permission. Psychological permission. The kind that separates men she's evaluating from men she's already chosen. There's a specific part of a woman's body that functions as a gateway. When she allows contact there, it's not random, it's not casual. It's a signal that her nervous system has made a decision about you. And if you don't understand what that signal means, you'll miss the moment where attraction becomes something deeper. Stay with me, because what I'm about to explain will change how you read every interaction with women for the rest of your life. Let's clear something up immediately. This isn't about tricks, tactics, or ways to get women. This is about understanding the psychological and neurological reality of how women experience touch, trust, and connection. Because here's what most men don't realize. A woman's body has a built-in security system that operates completely below her conscious awareness. Every time you make physical contact with a woman, her nervous system is running a threat assessment, not consciously. She's not thinking, is this person safe? Her autonomic nervous system is measuring your energy, your intention, your emotional state. And based on that assessment, her body either opens or closes. This is why the same touch from different men creates completely different responses. It's not the touch itself. It's what her nervous system detects behind the touch. Confidence or desperation, presence or agenda, authenticity or performance. All of this gets transmitted through physical contact at a level deeper than language. What I'm about to share isn't a formula to manipulate women. It's a framework to understand what's actually happening when a woman allows or withdraws from physical contact, and more importantly, what it means when she not only allows contact in a specific area, but actively leans into it. That response tells you everything you need to know about where you stand. Let's break it down. Before we get to the specific area, you need to understand the neuroscience of why touch matters so much in female attraction. When skin makes contact with skin, especially in areas with high nerve density, the brain releases oxytocin. This is the bonding hormone, the same chemical that bonds mothers to babies, creates pair bonding between partners, and builds trust between humans. But here's the critical part. Oxytocin only releases when the touch feels safe. If a woman's nervous system detects threat, uncertainty, or manipulation, touch actually triggers cortisol, the stress hormone. Same physical contact, opposite neurological response. This is why touch from a man she's attracted to feels electric, while touch from a man she's not interested in feels uncomfortable, even if the physical gesture is identical. Women have approximately 34 nerve receptors per square centimetre of skin compared to men's 17. This means women literally feel touch with twice the sensitivity. Every hand placement, every pressure variation, every micro adjustment in your touch communicates information to her nervous system that you might not even be consciously controlling. Here's what this means practically. When a woman allows you to touch a vulnerable area of her body, she's not just being friendly or polite. Her nervous system has completed a complex threat assessment and determined that you're safe, not just physically safe, but emotionally safe. And that assessment happens in milliseconds, based on hundreds of subtle cues she's picking up from your energy. The progression of physical touch in attraction follows a predictable neurological pattern. Each area of her body represents a different level of trust and nervous system openness. And when you understand this pattern, you can read exactly where you stand with a woman without her ever saying a word. Physical intimacy doesn't happen randomly. It follows a psychological architecture based on vulnerability. Think of a woman's body as having concentric circles of trust like layers of security in a protected facility. Each layer requires a higher level of clearance, the social layer. Arms, shoulders, hands. This is public territory. Touch here doesn't necessarily indicate attraction. It indicates you've passed the basic not a creep test. A woman can let dozens of people touch her arm or shoulder without it meaning anything beyond basic social acceptance. This is the outer perimeter. You're allowed in the building, but you're still in the lobby. The test here isn't whether she allows contact, it's how she responds. Does she lean in slightly? Does she maintain the contact or break it quickly? Does her body language open or close after touch? The same shoulder touch that makes one woman lean closer makes another. Women create distance. The difference is what her nervous system detected in your energy. The interest layer, lower back, waist. This is where attraction starts to become visible. The lower back and waist are intimate zones that require a woman to trust your intentions. When she allows a hand on her lower back, especially in a guiding context, she's acknowledging your leadership and presence. This isn't friend zone territory. This is I'm open to where this goes territory. The psychology here is fascinating. She can't see your hand on her lower back. She has to trust based on feeling alone. When a woman allows contact in an area she can't monitor visually, she's operating on nervous system trust, not conscious evaluation. That's a significant threshold. The vulnerability layer, neck, face, inner wrists. These areas are biologically vulnerable. The neck houses major arteries. The face is identity and expression. The inner wrists expose pulse points. Allowing touch here is primal trust. It's her nervous system saying you could hurt me here, but I trust you won't. When a woman lets you touch her face, you're no longer in evaluation mode. You've been selected. The face is how she presents to the world. Granting you access to that space is granting access to her carefully maintained exterior. It's significant. But there's one area that goes beyond all of these. One zone where her psychological defenses don't just lower, they collapse entirely. And understanding this zone changes everything. The specific part of her body that signals complete psychological surrender isn't obvious. It's not her face. It's not her neck. It's not her waist. It's her scalp. Specifically, when she allows you to touch her hair at the root, fingers against scalp, with gentle pressure. This is the gateway. Here's why this matters neurologically. The scalp has one of the highest concentrations of nerve endings in the entire body. When someone touches your scalp with the right pressure and intention, it triggers an immediate parasympathetic nervous system response. Your body enters rest and digest mode. Stress hormones drop. Oxytocin floods your system. You literally cannot maintain psychological defenses during genuine scalp contact. For women specifically, hair and scalp carry additional psychological weight. Hair is identity. It's femininity. It's control. Women spend enormous time and energy managing, styling, and protecting their hair. It's not just aesthetically important, it's psychologically significant. Hair represents how she wants to be seen. When a woman allows a man to touch her hair, especially at the scalp, she's surrendering control over one of her primary tools of self-presentation. That's massive. But here's the critical tell. It's not just that she allows the contact, it's what happens next. When you touch a woman's scalp and she's genuinely open to you, her body will produce involuntary responses she cannot fake. These responses are controlled by her autonomic nervous system, not her conscious mind. Here's what to watch for: the head tilt. If she tilts her head into your hand, increasing the pressure and contact, that's not a decision. That's her nervous system seeking more of what feels safe and pleasurable. It's the same response animals have when being petted. It's pure trust made physical. The eye closure. If her eyes close, even briefly, during scalp contact, you're witnessing nervous system surrender. Eyes closing means she feels safe enough to reduce visual monitoring of her environment. She's dropped into sensation. That's profound trust. The audible exhale. If she sighs, even quietly, that's her parasympathetic nervous system activating. It's a stress release. Her body is literally exhaling tension because your touch has created a safety signal so strong that her nervous system can afford to relax. The stillness. If she goes very still, that's not discomfort. That's presence. She's dropped into the moment so completely that movement stops. This is the opposite of the fidgeting, shifting, adjusting that happens when someone is uncomfortable with touch. These responses cannot be faked. You can fake a smile. You can fake interest in conversation. You cannot fake your autonomic nervous system's response to touch. When these involuntary signals appear during scalp contact, you're not reading attraction. You're reading neurological bonding in real time. But here's the part most men miss. This response only happens when you've built the foundation correctly. You can't skip to scalp touch. You can't manufacture this response through technique. The involuntary positive response to scalp contact is the result of everything you've done right up to that point. The reason scalp touch is such a powerful indicator isn't the touch itself. It's what has to be true about your connection for her to allow that touch in the first place. Let me break down the invisible foundation. Emotional safety has been established. Before a woman allows scalp touch, you've already proven through dozens of micro-interactions that you're emotionally safe. You don't overreact. You don't need constant validation. You can handle her moods without making them about you. You've shown restraint, presence, and emotional stability. Her nervous system has been collecting data on you throughout every interaction. How you responded when she tested you. How you handled situations that could have triggered insecurity. How you showed up when nothing was at stake. All of that data created a profile, safe or unsafe. Only safe gets access to vulnerable touch. Physical escalation has been natural. You didn't rush. You didn't skip steps. You started with socially acceptable touch and only progressed when her body language invited it. You read her responses and calibrated. You created a rhythm where each level of touch felt natural, not forced. Women can feel agenda. If you're touching to get somewhere, her nervous system detects that intention and closes down. But if you're touching because connection feels natural and you're present in the moment, her nervous system opens. The progression to scalp touch only happens when every previous touch felt right. You're not seeking validation through touch. This is the big one. Most men touch women to get something. Validation of attraction, confirmation of interest, proof they're making progress. That seeking energy is palpable. It creates pressure, and pressure closes women down. But when you touch because you're genuinely present and connected, when you're not measuring her response to determine your worth, when you're simply sharing a moment of physical closeness without agenda, everything changes. That's when her defenses drop completely. That's when scalp touch becomes possible. Let me be very clear about something. Understanding this dynamic doesn't give you a technique to manipulate women. You cannot fake your way to genuine scalp touch acceptance. You cannot skip the foundation. You cannot trick a woman's nervous system. The reason this knowledge is valuable isn't so you can make women respond to you. It's so you can read where you actually stand. Because here's the truth. Men waste enormous time and energy pursuing women who aren't interested. They misread friendliness as attraction. They interpret politeness as openness. They invest in connections that were never mutual. Understanding physical touch progression gives you accurate feedback. If a woman consistently creates distance from casual touch, she's not interested. You don't need to wonder. You don't need to overanalyze her words. Her body is giving you clear information. If she allows progressive touch but never relaxes into it, never shows those involuntary responses, she might be attracted but not ready, or she might be comfortable but not romantically interested. Again, you have information. But when she not only allows scalp touch but responds with those involuntary signals, head tilt, eye closure, audible exhale, stillness, you're not guessing anymore. Her nervous system is telling you something her words might not. She's chosen you, not consciously necessarily. But at a level deeper than conscious choice, this isn't manipulation. This is clarity. And clarity protects both of you. It protects you from wasting time on connections that aren't mutual. And it protects her from having to explicitly reject you, which most women hate doing. Now that you understand the significance of scalp touch acceptance, let me tell you the biggest mistake men make when they learn this information. They try to force it. They learn that scalp touch is significant, so they attempt it prematurely. And in doing so, they destroy the very thing they're trying to create. Forced intimacy triggers a woman's threat detection system. When you reach for scalp touch before the foundation is built, before trust is established, before the natural progression has occurred, her nervous system reads it as boundary violation. Even if she doesn't consciously register it as threatening, her body will create distance. You cannot skip steps in physical intimacy. Each level of touch must be welcomed before the next becomes possible. Trying to jump to scalp touch without earning it is like trying to unlock a door by breaking the lock. You might get through, but you've damaged the mechanism that would have opened naturally. The right approach is patience and presence. Focus on being genuinely connected, not on achieving specific touch goals. Let each level of physical contact happen when it feels natural, when her body language invites it, when the moment supports it. Trust that if you're building a real connection, the progression will happen organically. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to achieve scalp touch acceptance is usually when it becomes possible. Because that trying energy, that agenda, that measuring of progress, it's all pressure, and pressure is what keeps women's defenses up. When you drop the agenda and simply enjoy whatever level of connection exists in each moment, when you're genuinely present rather than strategizing next moves, that's when women relax. That's when trust builds. That's when their nervous system decides you're safe for deeper access. So now you have this framework. You understand that scalp touch acceptance is a profound indicator of psychological openness. You know the involuntary responses to watch for. You understand the foundation that must be built first. What do you actually do with this? First, use it as a calibration tool, not a target. Don't make achieving scalp touch your goal. Make genuine connection your goal. Make building trust your goal. Make being present and authentic your goal. Then use physical touch responses, including scalp touch, to calibrate where you actually stand. If you're consistently getting positive responses to progressive touch, if she's leaning in rather than pulling away, if her body language is open and relaxed, you're building something real. Keep doing what you're doing. If you're getting neutral or closed responses, you're not there yet. Don't force it. Either give it more time or recognize it might not develop. Second, respect the information her body gives you. If her nervous system is telling you she's not comfortable with progressive touch, believe it. Don't try to convince her intellectually. Don't interpret her words instead of her body. Her nervous system is giving you accurate information about her genuine comfort level. Honor it. Third, understand that scalp touch acceptance isn't the finish line, it's a milestone. When a woman allows genuine scalp touch with those involuntary positive responses, you're at a threshold. You've built trust. You've created safety. She's psychologically open to you, but that's not the end of building connection. It's the beginning of deeper intimacy. What comes after scalp touch acceptance is where real relationship building happens. The foundation of trust you've built becomes the ground on which everything else grows. Don't treat her openness as achievement unlocked and stop investing. Treat it as confirmation that you're doing the right things and continue being that person. Here's what this is really about. Most men are operating with incomplete information. They're reading women's words while ignoring their body language. They're pursuing attraction while missing actual interest. They're investing in connections that were never mutual while overlooking women who are genuinely open. Understanding physical touch progression, and specifically the significance of scalp touch acceptance, gives you a more complete picture. You're reading verbal communication, body language, and nervous system responses. You have access to the full data set of how she's actually experiencing the connection. This knowledge is power, but not the kind of power that controls others. It's the kind of power that prevents wasted time and emotional investment. The kind of power that helps you recognize mutual interest when it exists and move on when it doesn't. The kind of power that makes you more attractive because you're not desperate, not forcing, not trying too hard. Women are attracted to men who can read their signals without them having to explain everything. When you understand touch progression, you become that man. You don't need her to verbally confirm interest because you can read her nervous system's responses. You don't need constant reassurance because you can calibrate based on physical feedback. You move with confidence because you have actual information, not assumptions. If a woman lets you touch her scalp with genuine relaxation, with those involuntary responses that signal nervous system trust, she's not just allowing physical contact. She's showing you that at the deepest level of her being, she's chosen you, not as a friend, not as someone she's evaluating, as someone she trusts enough to drop her defenses around. That trust is everything. It's the foundation of attraction, intimacy, and connection. And now you know how to recognize it when it's present. Use this knowledge with respect. Use it for clarity, not manipulation. And most importantly, focus on becoming the kind of man who naturally earns that level of trust, rather than trying to trick your way to it. Subscribe for more insights into female psychology that actually makes sense. Like if this changed your perspective, and comment with your experiences. Let's build understanding together.